Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. That takes us to key concept 1.3 developments in South and Southeast Asia from circa 1200 to circa 1450. So that takes us to theme 2 culture, Hinduism, Islam, and Buddhism, and their core beliefs and practices continue to shape societies in South and Southeast Asia. For example, you can see this on the island of Java with the largest Buddhist temple complex on the planet, Borobudur. This is a primarily Mahayana Buddhist complex. State formation and development demonstrated continuity, innovation, and diversity, including the new Hindu and Buddhist states that emerged in South and Southeast Asia, going to be largely influenced by this new movement called the Bhakti movement. The Bhakti movement was a medieval Indian theological and political movement. It was yet again another challenge to the intense social hierarchy of the Hindu caste system and focused on an individual's ability to reach enlightenment regardless of caste. So this is just another one of these, resistance movements to the social rigidity of the caste system. Earlier ones were Buddhism and Jainism. An important book in this movement is the Bhagavad Gita, but even then, it just goes to show how persistent the ideas about the caste system are in South Asian culture. The Bhagavad Gita is a book that's entirely about how people need to follow their caste. Sufis continue to spread Islam throughout South and Southeast Asia in this time period. Sufis are religious leaders and scholars in Islam that were important for spreading the religion in places like India. They have been controversial at times because of their practice of visiting graves of Islamic saints, something that critics have suggested is too akin to worshiping the saints or their places of burial or that kind of stuff. Buddhists continue to have monasteries all over the place, from South Asia throughout the Silk Road into China and Korea and Japan. And a South Asian Hindu state emerged called Vijayanagara. Vijayanagara was established in 1336 by Harihari and his brother Bukaraya of the Sangama dynasty. They united this southern portion of India to try to create a Hindu movement to ward off Islamic invasions of Turkish peoples into South Asia. In Southeast Asia, there's the Srivijaya Empire that controlled the Strait of Malacca. Srivijaya was a primarily Buddhist maritime empire. It influenced much of Southeast Asia in this time period and controlled trade through the most important choke point on planet Earth for trade, the Strait of Malacca. Srivijaya ended up being an important connecting point for trade from the Sung Dynasty China through the Islamic Caliphate and even India. Next are the variety of Rajput kingdoms. There are at least 46 of these in just the area that is today, like, say, Bangladesh, but there's dozens of political systems, and generalizing is difficult. But the Rajputs were generally Hindu leaders of states that were often cooperating with or in competition with or trying to gain independence from the rule of the Sultanate of Delhi. In Southeast Asia, there's the Khmer Empire, which had an incredibly important temple and palace complex at Angkor. The Khmer Empire is mostly Hindu. It was formed in Southeast Asia in the 9th century and persisted until 1431. It covered much of modern-day Cambodia, Laos, and Thailand. Next up is Majapahit, which was an empire that was centered in Java and grew and shrank throughout the area around Indonesia and Malaysia from 1293 to 1500. And then Sukhothai, which was a Theravada Buddhist kingdom in much of what is today Thailand from 1238 to 1438. In South Asia, just off of the coast of India, there's Ceylon or Sri Lanka, and they were ruled over for 2,300 years by a series of dynasties called the Sinhala dynasties, leaders of what is current day Sri Lanka. The dynasty lasted for 2,300 years until 1815 CE, when they were defeated by the British, a mostly Theravada Buddhist peoples. Ladies and gentlemen, that's key concept 1.3.